Hey guys, Josh here, and welcome back to my Mass Effect Andromeda information series. Today we're talking about combat and the class system. So this is the really sort of RPG type stuff, which they seem to be putting a lot more in this time, but a lot more flexible than previous games. So it's pretty interesting this time around. So firstly, rather than all your powers being on one cooldown, so you use your throw and then you have to wait for them all, like they all have to cool down before you can use anything again. Everything's going to be on individual timers now, your abilities, which is what a lot of RPGs do and certainly MMOs do. So basically you can basically just throw one, you won't be able to use that one for a while if it's cooling down, but you can still use your other attacks. That's pretty cool and just different, and it could really change up combat because then you can basically just combo between warping someone and then throwing someone. So yeah, it's pretty interesting if you can basically do combos. That combined with your squad combos means basically you'll be putting out a lot more abilities out there against enemies. So combat's going to be really different this time, I mean, and that's just one of the first things really that this is really going to change it. Pausing like in combat's there, but only if you use switching weapons and using consumables, they've said. So firstly, right, so you can't pause in combat and like tell your squad mates to attack, so that tacticalness is gone, which is kind of a shame, but basically they're just now hotkeys, and you just use them and they just happen for your squad mates. So yeah, like they had that anyway, but that's all there is now. So that's kind of a little bit shitty in some ways. I kind of prefer, especially like, not so much on console. When I played on console I hardly did it, but on PC it's very nice to just be able to pause combat and tell your squad mates attack him with this and then I'll attack him with this, and getting those combos going. So that's kind of gone, which is annoying. But also using consumables. Now consumables could just be Medi-gel, but why would they just call it consumables? It implies there's other consumables we're going to be able to do, which could be good. So not just health, but you know, not just reviving your squad mates, but maybe health for yourself. So it could be they're changing the health system. This really has implications. You know, you're going to be read quite carefully. So they could be going back to a different type of health system, not necessarily a regen health system. So maybe there's like health potions, not health potions, like Medi-gel basically. To heal yourself, but there could be other consumables. There could be some which let you cool down your abilities quicker, which implies do abilities have their own, not like mana, but their own currency type thing they have to use to be able to use abilities. So that could be interesting. We'll have to just see, and we don't know yet, but it suggests that they are really changing the combat system quite a bit to maybe a traditional health system and certainly like a mana type system. So it sounds really cool. Dynamic cover system, and it says like The Last of Us. I can't really remember what was so great about The Last of Us cover system. I suppose what it was is that you could like get in cover and people come near you, you could pull them over cover and that kind of thing, which a lot of games do now anyway. Gears of War 4 did it, and like you can pull enemies over cover and stab them in the face and that kind of thing. That I can imagine being cool, especially with like an Omni Blade. That would be really cool. So yeah, that's different. Jetpack. A jetpack is one of the main things right now, which I think is going to really change, not just the combat, but just exploration itself. This touches on exploration from the last video, but you have a jetpack now, and the jetpack lets you like boost shortly from one distance to another to get over gaps in the terrain. So there's probably going to be some elements of puzzles whilst you're playing, or not puzzles, but parkour to some extent. You know, dangerous environments that you can't just walk through. You have to hover over them. You know, get over them. So you got to be careful. But also just really changing the level design. You know, in old Mass Effect it was kind of a linear path you were on, and there was always a wall or a little ledge or something that stopped you going, say, down below, whereas now you can just boost over there and get there. So it can be really interesting in how they design the levels now and how that's going to affect combat. I imagine you'll be able to go up onto high positions to shoot down on enemies, or you'll be able to jump down into amongst them. So it really changes how combat's going to work, and not just the usual, oh, you're in this arena now, fight, kind of probably not move too much and just fight your way through this area. There's no real traversing it and getting alternate angles really, like, you know, there was in 1, 2 and 3. Jetpack also has a hover function, so you can kind of just hover in the air and just shoot enemies. So basically, yeah, you can kind of hover above enemies who are sitting behind cover and just shoot them in the face, which is pretty cool, because it's annoying sometimes when you got that one enemy who just sits in cover and you either have to flank them or you just got to wait for them to pop up, whereas now you can just hover up in the air and shoot downwards onto them, which is pretty good. And also it can be used to sort of scout out and see what's around you, so that's really cool. It says they want less emphasis on linear, clearly telegraphed environments to tell you when a combat encounter is coming. So that touches on this idea of multi-level areas. I think like clearly telegraphed environments was in Mass Effect. You kind of have an idea if you go into a big room and there's a door on the other side that's kind of locked, you're probably going to be fighting in combat until that door, and then that door open when you clear everyone. That kind of thing is going to be gone, which is good because it's so fucking cliche. A lot of games do it. Of get in a big room and you have to kill everyone in there before you can get through the door. So combat's going to be more natural, just happens. It hasn't got to be these encounters that you have to get through. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. Sort of overall enemies, and it touches on the stuff of the exploration as well. The open world has enemies in it that are just there. They're not part of any missions. They're just in the open world to fight, which all RPGs have had for ages, but Mass Effect hasn't. So yeah, it's just really changing it up. It feels like it's going to be a much more RPG experience this time. Which now brings us on to the classes. Now the classes are probably going to get the biggest overhaul. Since, well, 1 to 2, really. Because the one you just had the classes, they had the abilities, not that much varying. But 2, really revamped it, and had the Vanguard could do that teleport blink strike thing, and there were just so many new cool abilities. Now there's no class system. The class system's gone, which is like, oh, okay, that's quite a difference. So there's no more like soldier, adept, sentinel, and am I getting all of them? Infiltrate? I can't remember what all the classes are, but yeah, classes are gone. So you basically at the start of the game you'll have every single ability available to you in the game. So there's no restriction to classes. So that's fucking cool, because basically it means you can just play as you want, which a lot of RPGs are doing now. And I think Skyrim was one of the first to do it, was just to get rid of the class system and just let you have all the abilities you want, and then you can choose what you want to have. So that's really cool. So you can make a character who has quite a bit of soldier elements to them, but has a little bit of biotics, or could be full-blown biotics. If you want to go with a more traditional adept, or soldier and tech. So basically you can just mix and match as much as you want, or you could just have maybe one ability from the soldier. Maybe there's like a high damage round thing from the soldier, and then have full biotics. So you can just be like a full powerful biotic, but still have that really powerful high impact round or whatever. Or I remember there was abilities like that on soldier. I haven't played soldier actually since I first played through the trilogy, which was years ago. So I've forgotten what half the abilities, because soldier's kind of so generic, but it was kind of easy, not easy mode, but you know what I mean. It had these abilities on it that made things easier. There was one I remember you could like slow time and shoot. So if you could pick something like that, but combine that with biotics, that could be interesting. So that's really cool. They're just letting you pick what you want rather than restricting you to a specific class. Yeah, I nearly fucking fucked up then. Yeah, they don't want the player to feel like they've made a wrong choice. Which they did a good job of in 2 and 3. Like in Mass Effect 1, if you picked an adept, you had a pistol only, and I think you had a shotgun? I can't remember. But basically you felt like, I personally when I first played adept was like, oh shit, I don't have rifles. This feels kind of shitty. And I kind of felt like, oh, I wish I'd gone with a soldier again, or another class that maybe could use an assault rifle. In 2 they let you then pick later on another rifle, or sniper, which was cool. And in 3 you could just use anything you wanted. Yeah, it's kind of cool that they just allow you just to do what you want really now, which is really nice. So you haven't got to worry about what weapons you can use. You can use every type of weapon, you can use any ability you want. You just got to spend the time leveling up your character to get the skill points to get those abilities. So that's really cool. However, they said they have like a sort of tree specialization thing, which is when then you get the name Vanguard or Adepts basically. So basically, I think when you get to a certain level that you can then choose, I really like using biotics, so I'm going to become an adept in title, not in the class. Like my title will become adept, and then basically you'll probably get boost to biotics. Maybe you'll get extra biotic damage, or better cooldowns with biotics. Maybe there'll probably be some couple of abilities that are unique to adept. but I imagine you can respec that at any point. So you're still not locked in. But it's kind of cool. It's like if you really like the biotics, then you can sort of specialise them a little bit and get bonuses with them. So that's really cool and different. And finally, this is my last sort of thing, is all the sort of weapons return. So you got your assault rifles, pistols, and shotguns, snipers. And we've seen some of the designs on them, and they're very, very similar to what was in the original trilogy in terms of the look of the main assault rifle and like the pistol. He's got like a lot of the promotional carrying like the heavy pistol. I can't remember what it's called now that you use. You get it from like 2 and 3 onwards. Like it's a big pistol with like a guard around the front of it, sort of covering up where the hand is. I can't remember what it's called now, but I'll probably put a picture up so you can see what I mean. But yeah, that's in it, or a variant of it. So they're back, but also melee options. They said there's now swords and hammers, which sounds fucking mental. It sounds really fucking fun. It's like imagine your Omni tool. It seems to be like it's more of it's not just in Mass Effect 1. The Omni tool was just used for like hacking stuff, and it just did it in like cutscenes most of the time. And in 2 was pretty much the same. In 3 they made the Omni tool more of an actual thing you used in game. So you put it up to doors to hack them. You had a melee attack when you could like pull out the blade and slice them with it. Whereas this now seems like it's an actual weapon that might even have its own like skills, for all we know. We don't know. But then you can upgrade the actual look of it so it can become a sword. Not just a little blade, but I imagine it can become a bigger sword, so maybe it will like swing a bit more. And hammers, so maybe it like has like a ground sort of slam attack or something like that. It sounds fucking really cool. I imagine if you could combine that with, say, you're hovering up in the air with your jetpack and then you slam down with a hammer and just take out a massive group of enemies. Or certainly stun them and knocking them away if you're not killing them. It just sounds really cool and different. So that's it for this week, talking about combat. Next week we are moving on to sort of your squad mates and your relationships. And this is probably the best bit about the Mass Effect trilogy. You know, the relationship with our characters. So that's what we'll be talking about next week. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye bye.